Hello, hello. Happy Q&A Monday. You can see my little Life Pro sign in the background there. Welcome. Today is kind of a topic that comes up commonly, probably because you don't think about it until you're through it. Today we are talking about using your vibration plate, and I think I'll actually talk about other tools for pre and post surgery and sometimes post injury situation. So, it's very common when you are using a tool like your vibration plate or your red light therapy or your compressions that you have a setback or a medical requirement to have surgery or some type of medical intervention. And lots of times on the VIP page, and I certainly for years and years get the common question, can I use a plate before or after my surgery? And it really, like anything else in life, boils down to it depends. In a pre-surgery situation, there's lots of reasons to consider using your plate up onto surgery, but you may not use it with the same veracity, let's say, that you would have in the past. So, let's say you're getting ready for a knee replacement. There's still lots of things that you can do to get your circulation, your lymph, even manage symptoms until you're in that surgery situation. And in many ways, using your plate prior to surgery will better prepare you not only for the surgery, but expedite recovery potentially as well. So what it really boils down to when you're considering using your machine in a pre or post-surgery situation is it boils down to you, what you are able to do, what your tolerance is. And what I'd like to show you today is a few variations that you can use in a pre-surgery situation where you're dealing with pain and symptoms, fatigue, those types of things, and post-surgery where you can use it, to get a lot of feel-good and wellness aspects until you're in a situation to resume or progress towards more traditional activities. So I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. If someone can just let me know if you are here, say hello or give me a wave if you can see and hear me. And if you can, I'm going to mosey my way over to the plates. I just want to say, I'm going to say hello all. It says that there's a few of you here with me today. So if you are one of those, let me hear or see you. Just a second. I want to make sure you can see my plates. Look at this. Okay, I've got a couple of different plates set up today because depending on what you are having surgery for or recovering from, I wanted you to see a couple of different angles on some of these exercises today. I see someone was kind enough. Hello, Dolores. Thank you, Dolores, for letting me know that you can see and hear me. I just want to make sure you guys can see me on camera. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because everybody's unique. There are no two hip replacements that are the same. So I'm going to go through a few scenarios on the machine, and don't think before and after surgery. You have to, if you're dealing with a deficiency or you're about to go under the knife and have something medically done to you, you do need to adhere to your doctor's guidelines, whether it's avoiding certain activities, certain exercise positions. There may be things like they don't want you bearing weight for long periods of time, or maybe you are physically unable to bear weight for long periods of time. So as I said, if you're just joining me, I have two machines set up at different angles because I want you to understand a few very basic universal things here. As always, I am working in oscillating movement. Oscillating is the side to side. It mimics walking. It is the most functional. And you know what? It's what you do walking across the floor. It's a very natural movement, and there's lots of ways you can take advantage of this type of movement without having a whole lot of knowledge or getting hung up in settings or speeds. The first basic lesson I always just want to touch on is distance between your feet or hands if you're doing an upper body position determines the amount of movement or the intensity. It's not about going as challenging as possible to begin with. And if you're in a pre or a post-surgery situation, things probably hurt or you're dealing with a deficiency. So I do not want maximum amount of shake, maximum amount of impact. Often you can modify how you're already using your machine simply by reducing the amount of amplitude that you're using. So bring your feet closer to the center of your body. Certainly no wider than your hips are apart. This is about being functional and getting you ready for a procedure or recovering from one. By sitting on a stool, I want you guys at a good 90-degree angle. Don't want your hips going lower than your knees. It's harder to get up, just like when you're sitting in a low sofa. This model here has handles. I have this one lower because I was doing children's stuff before. Any of the machines with handles are a good idea if you do suffer with mobility issues. You're fearful, you just feel like you want something to hang on to. But what I will caution is any of the machines out there with handles are just meant to offer you a little bit of reassurance and stability. What I don't want you doing is hanging on and reefing on it for, I'm not getting in my hole here. Hang on. Wait a minute. There. What I don't want you doing in a post-surgery situation is if you have a machine with handles, I don't want you bearing weight before you are ready or before your doctor advises you to do so. You might feel more confident when you've got something to hang on to, but if you've got issues with the legs or the hips or the spine and you're not able to bear your own mass without using the strength of your arms, you're just going to tip your machine because it's generally speaking, most of the machines nowadays are built to be more compact, more portable because we're using them for many different things. If you want something with a little bit more stability, have it close to the back of a couch. Use a ladder attached to the wall. Put a bar stool in front of you if you do need something short term. Short term, the first thing to improve in a post-surgery situation when you are prepared to bear weight is your balance. So if this is a short-term fix because the balance is a little off kilter versus something medically you're going to be dealing with because there's been a neurological concern, if you find you always need something to hang on to, you may want to look at something that gives you a little bit more support regularly. The goal post-surgery is not to bear weight until your doctor has cleared. So I wanted to go through a few variations of things you may have around the home, just to mix up the sitting a little bit, but also start working on some of the exercises that you may need to do in a post-surgery situation. Again, when can you use your vibration plate post-surgery? If you're able to go to the bathroom and make a sandwich and bear a little bit of weight here and there, just getting your circulation and lymphatic system going is not only going to expedite recovery, it's going to give you energy. It's going to improve your sleep. It's going to assist other therapies or activities that you are doing as part of your post-recovery. But I wouldn't necessarily jump into a big workout until your doctor has advised you're able to do so. In a pre-surgery, same situation. It's not that the exercises may be different. It's just reducing the amount of weight or effort that your body is required to do these positions while still gaining benefits to get you prepared and more ready for your surgery situation. So something I've added to start with is a ball. This is a terribly inexpensive item. Any moms or dads out there probably have one of these if you have children still in the house. This one, there's a little bit of air out of it, just so you can grip it. A really good way to get prepared to start living life again post-surgery without bearing weight. There's ways that you can use the stimulus of the machine while you do some seated exercises to ramp up the results. By adding a ball between the legs, just above the knees, it forces the inner and the outer thighs, the hips, to become part of the equation of movement. So while your feet are moving back and down, you're getting all this awesome circulation and lymphatic, which is expediting recovery. We're adding some strength to the equation. And what you can do with this one, you can put your hands on your hips or wherever's comfortable. But I want you to do some leg like some clams. I want you to pull those knees together, and I want you to hold for 3 to 5 seconds. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And do this, 3 to 5 reps. Whether you have a vibration plate or not, this is an exercise you can do seated. The goal in a pre or a post-surgery situation is to reduce the amount of body weight until things are in a better situation. So this is one add-on that I love doing. If you do have achiness or swelling below the calves, you can also add it just below the knees. You don't squeeze it as hard. You don't have as much area hanging onto the ball, but you could also, this is great if the knees are collapsing inwards, if you have prolapsed ankles. Again, just squeeze and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. So 2 areas you're going to feel difference in where those muscles are forced to contract and balance and keep the ball from flying out between the legs. So 3 to 5 reps in each area. Don't overdo it if you're not doing these types of exercises now. There likely are seated exercises that your doctor or physical therapist have given you as things that you're supposed to be doing before or after surgery. All the plate is an environment that adds more benefit, the added benefits of recovery. Just follow your doctor's guideline for weight bearing, which is when you move to your feet, okay? Another variation I want to show you in an area that deteriorates in strength very quickly post-surgery is the calves. And very commonly, calf raises are not something that everybody does all the time. Strong calf muscles are really important for not only stability and strength when you are bearing weight again post-surgery, but they're very common areas of weakness that are correlated with cardiac issues. So if you've had a heart attack, if you've had a stroke, I'm sure your doctor or therapist has told you, you got to work on that calf strength. It's those smaller muscles in the lower legs versus the thighs that are having to return the blood and the lymphatic upwards against gravity. So what better way to improve that situation and all the symptoms that come with it, neuropathy, all those type of things, by putting your feet on a plate and doing the exercises you're supposed to do. So one of them is a calf raise. You can do a seated calf raise. You can do one at a time, mimic walking a little bit. The goal with this exercise is not only to start building strength and engaging activity on the calf and the shin muscles, but it helps improve range of motion and stability in the ankles. The better your range of motion, the better you're going to be able to squat deeper and bend down on the floor in one motion versus 5 or 6. A little add-on to our calf raise, so you can see what this one looks like from the side view. So coming up, okay, very slowly. You may not be able to come up as high as me. You may want to alternate 3 to 5 reps, whatever feels good. It's easy to overdo it. If you have poor stability, if you deal with a lot of spasticity, there are ways that you can add things like a pull noodle. Why do I like using a pull noodle? They're a little kinder on the body when you incorporate the stimulation of the machine into it. A traditional physio or a plastic noodle is almost a little too hard. It doesn't work as well with the stimulation coming from the machine. So all that the pull noodle does is it gives you perhaps a little structure to those calf raises. Maybe it's hard for you and you've deteriorated to the point where you cannot lift your heel, or perhaps you're dealing with some paralysis, fully or partially. A pull noodle or slice it in half, depending on the size of your foot, is a great way to just add support while targeting those calf and shin muscles while letting the machine essentially do the work of the movement. So it looks like this on the machine. I recommend from a speed perspective using a mid-range, but again, we're keeping the feet are going to be no more than hip width apart, closer if this feels too intense, but you'll feel just by propping the heels up on this pull noodle, you're going to feel a little bit more stable. If you want a little bit more action on the upper body while you're doing this, I've done videos in the past. You can put your hands on your knees. Not only does it add a little bit of movement to the upper body, but it adds more mass to just the knees and below, a little bit deeper into the veins and the muscles. If you want a little bit more intensity, get into the neck and the shoulders, lean all the way over. If you're able, it looks like this, and you're putting those elbows in contact with the knees, okay? I have been using Cool Noodles on vibration machines for 16 years. They're bar none, next to the exercise mat that may or may not come with your machine, are the number one accessory that I like to incorporate that don't add anything other than variety and comfort and stability in therapeutic applications like we're talking about today. The other way that you can use this is to stretch the calves. So there's a couple ways that you can stretch your calves. I'd like to start with the ideal, which is lifting and raising one leg forward. You're going to pull those toes towards you. You're going to try and straighten the leg if possible, and you're going to feel a nice stretch all the way up the back of the leg. You may not be able to do that, but perhaps you can just extend your foot far enough to rest it on the edge of the plate. Again, you don't want to be too wide, just hip width apart, and just try and start pulling those toes towards. You may not have the strength to hold and suspend it while you're doing the stretch. This is one variation, is just extending, pulling that toe towards you, and returning to the plate. I would recommend doing this stretch one leg at a time. You need something to stop you from sliding forward off your stool. Okay, so just so you can see what that looks like, we're extending past, stretch, okay, stretch. If you're able, this is going to offer more strength if you're able to suspend it, even if it's just for a second or two. You may want to do rotations, stretching by do a little ballerina toe, point those toes this way if you need to. If you don't need to hold it up if you're unable. Make sure you're doing both sides. Okay. So that one on this looks like this. Again, starting here, try just extending the toe. If you're able, lift. You'll feel that hamstring bearing weight. Very little variations that you can be doing just to start building strength, providing these exercises work with your personal situation and you're ready to do these type of things. The machine is just bringing more benefit to the equation and helping expedite recovery at the same time. So calf stretch another way, if you need to make it easier, if you deal with fatigue and those variations just are not going to work for you, instead of placing it under the heel, this time we're going to place it under the balls of the feet. So the heels are just touching the surface of the plate and the front portion is wedged under the balls of your feet. And you're going to feel a nice stretch. You want to make sure you're nice and straight up and down. I'll show you what that looks like from this side. Okay. So we're nice and straight in the leg here. You're going to feel a pull all the way up. Okay. You could even do a raise, stretch. One at a time if you feel more comfortable. Variety is the spice of life. And, the biggest way that you will be successful with getting ready for or recovering from your surgery is being consistent in what you're doing. And what I find with the machine, we all have exercises that we're supposed to be doing before or after, regardless. They really boil down to, are you to be bearing weight or are you to not be bearing weight? And this is just a modification in how you can use your plate until you are ready to resume weight-bearing activities. Once you are able to resume weight-bearing activities, again, reduce the distance between the feet. Don't pick up where you may have left off. This is about easing back into the activity, reducing the amount of time, perhaps using it more frequently. All the other soft benefits like assisting not only in recovery, but it's going to expedite better sleep, better gut health, better bowel movements. When you go through a surgery situation, there's often a lot more time that you're spending seated. So anything that you can do to break that up, get the blood and the lymph going is going to expedite the recovery. So be consistent with whatever exercises and stretches that it is you are supposed to be doing. And if you're using other therapies like red lights, compressions, similar guidelines would apply. We, of course, want you checking with your doctor or your care provider. But, if you want to combine your therapeutic tools from Life Pro, you could set your red light beside you and have it cast upon you while you're doing your vibration session. If you're having particular, leg cramps or restless leg at night, you could be applying the massage gun to the legs while you're doing your leg work on the machine. So you are only limited by your imagination and your range of motion, and I'm here to fill in the blanks on the rest. So I'm just going to kill one light here so I'm not completely blinded talking to you. There. And I want to see, I'm sure everyone is in perfect, optimal health, and no one has any situations or questions to ask me today. Ha, ha, ha. That's me being sarcastic. I want to hear what you guys are dealing with. If common sense, isn't quite where you fit into the box and you've got a one-off that just isn't making sense for you and you want some clarity, feel free to please ask me your questions now. Who's here with me? I said hello, then Dolores said, hey, hello, Jackie. Hope you're doing well. She gave me a thumbs up. Again, if you are in a pre or a post-surgery situation, every situation is completely different. I could line up 10 of my customers that have had knee replacements and how they're recovering, the bodies that they're dealing with, the exercises that they're doing, the therapy that they even have access to varies. And if you're a jock and you exercise regularly and you have a setback, very often we don't look at our fitness tools as sometimes a recovery tool that can not only expedite recovery, but be used as a performance enhancement tool while you are training, minimize injuries. If you are in a post-surgery situation, not everyone has access to or an unlimited budget to go to proper therapeutic care. Or it's a long distance to travel, doesn't work with your work schedule. Don't do nothing. Very often some of the therapies that you've already invested in with Life Pro are going to provide you benefit, but you may need to modify what you are doing with them and how often, what setting, to use them more as a recovery than a fitness benefit, but at least maintain the results that you have achieved to date. So I hope that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'm going to link after the live has closed for those of you that are not joining me today. It is Monday. It's a Monday that feels like a Monday. I've had some terrible weather. I was afraid I wouldn't have power by the time we got here today. So if you're watching the recorded version of this and you did have a surgery specific question, please feel free to tag me at Debbie with a Y. I know that you're all looking forward to using all your new Prime Day deals, all the vibration machines and massage guns. And if you did get it for a pre or a post-surgery, post-injury situation and you need some guidance, again, just tag me and I will reply within when I see your comment. I'm also going to post a link. I did a chat earlier last year as well on a pre and a post-surgery situation. And there's never, again, black and white, and there's so many one-offs. I'll repost that just as another example if you're doing a bit more research. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Monday. Again, for the month of July, I am here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If there are no questions today, again, be conservative, higher speeds, keep those feet closer together, adhere to what your doctor or care provider has advised. Think of it again as a weight-bearing versus non-weight-bearing activity. And there's often a lot of ways that you can modify using the tools you already have, or at least you've been considering and maybe have been shied away because I can't use a vibration machine right after surgery. Why can't you? If you're in a seated position and able to modify, maybe you're standing on one leg that's able to bear weight, the same leg that you're hopping to the washer monitor to make that sandwich on. So there's always a way, depending on your situation, and once I can understand a little bit more about it, to modify to at least get some benefit out of the tools that you're already loving so much. And if you've been using a machine regularly, you'll miss it. If you're dealing with a chronic condition and it's helping you with pain or swelling, you become curious and a little bit more confident in understanding its capability as a wellness and a therapeutic tool versus it always being maybe a fitness thing. Valerie says, what benefit can you receive if using a vibration plate? I just covered a whole bunch. This is more related to pre and post surgery, but depends on what you're using it for, Valerie. If you're looking for passive benefits, like we were talking about today, there's lots of ways that you can boost circulation, manage pain, reduce the amount of time that you spend doing self-care. If you're looking for fitness gains, doing exercises that are sort of built to complement whatever goals you're looking to achieve. So things like squats, push-ups, you're really only limited, I always say, by your imagination and your range of motion. The plate is more of an environment that can enhance the benefits that you'd get from doing the same exercise on the floor. And for many people dealing with chronic issues or deficiencies, it makes certain exercises more possible, so offering benefits where maybe traditional activities just were not possible due to those chronic conditions. So I hope that makes sense. And again, it really depends on what you do on it. If you're looking for something specific, Valerie, there's tons of videos in the library of both here, the VIP page and Life Pro's main page, as well on YouTube. Don't be afraid to use the search function. If there's a condition out there, I've probably done a ramble on it. If there's something that you would like me to talk about and it's a condition I have yet to discuss related to whether it's vibration plates or any of Life Pro's health and wellness and fitness tools, please just let myself, Amber, or Roseanne know, and we'll be happy to arrange a session very soon. Again, I'll see you 7 p.m. For the month of July, Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. I look forward to seeing you next Monday, same time, same place. Don't work too hard, you guys. Thanks again for joining me.